Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to introduce you to Kamino Finance. The native crypto people around here watching this video probably already know how things go by, so this video is more focused for newer people, non-native crypto folks, just to show them that things actually aren't that complicated and to show them what kind of opportunities there are in crypto. Okay. So what is Kamino Finance to begin with? Kamino Finance is a Solana-based liquidity management tool that integrates lending, liquidity and leverage into one product. As you can see, you have those options on the top here. Today's video, however, is going to focus on the lending aspect, on supplying your money for others to borrow and then making money off of that. So that's today's topic. If you really want to read deeper into the other mechanics that Kamino offers and also how everything precisely works, I'm pretty sure their code is even open sourced. I will link down their documentation in the box below. You can just check it out for yourself. Anyhow, today's focus is gonna be on lending. Okay, so now let's assume you have $100 to spare and they're just sitting in your bank account, right? You want to at least beat inflation because we've seen it in the past years. Inflation rates have been extremely high, 6, 8, 10% beyond whatever. And if you just let those $100 in your bank sit there and do nothing, over time they will decrease in value. So you want to do something against it and possibly risk-free. There will always be some risk, but as little risk as possible. Then this could be an option. So I drew something out here on Paint, the path you would have to take to interact with Kamino Finance. You would begin with obviously depositing your $100 into a centralized exchange, aka Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, any major crypto exchange, and all of them support the Solana network. So on their side, you would withdraw your $100, which then would probably be in stablecoins already. It's very easy to wrap your head around that. It's not complicated at all. You essentially exchange $100 for 100 USDTs, for example. That's a stablecoin, a crypto issued stablecoin that's always pegged to one real life dollar. Anyway, so you would withdraw those onto your Solana wallet, which is the Phantom wallet, and you would also want to make sure to withdraw at least $5 or $10 worth of the native token of the Solana network, Solana, right? Because every transaction fee, even though they are very cheap on the Solana network, you still have to pay them, is calculated in Solana coins. You have to pay them with Solana, so you cannot just withdraw your stable coins, otherwise you'll be stuck with the money on your wallet without being able to do any transactions. Right, so once we're at the Phantom crypto wallet with your $100, you simply, as you saw on the website, connect to the product, right, to the protocol, and from there you can skim through these different markets depending on which asset you also have on your wallet. You could also deposit Solana and earn some yield on that. But assuming you're in stable coins because you just want some safe, some safe interest on your money, you could have the USDC stablecoin and enter the JLP market right here, earning you 15% annually. So, of course, it is always moving around the supply API. So sometimes it will be low as 3 or 4%, and sometimes it will be high as 20-30%. That really just depends on how many people are borrowing, utilizing the pool, and how many people are supplying stablecoins, right? If there are a lot of people borrowing and not as many supplying, then you will be paid a lot to supply. You'll be incentivized to supply. That's how the system works. Anyway, if we go back to the graphic here, you're connected, you deposit, let's say, your 100 stable coins, your $100, into the JLP market that we just looked at. you will begin earning the supply APY, which is this right here. In this case, 15.37% annually. Again, variable, it will keep moving around, so the average is not going to be 15, but maybe 10, 12, who knows, right? Anyway, you have a bunch of statistics right here. You see all the numbers. You can also even see what happens to your account down here. I think they did a pretty good job on showing you all the information that you need to know. Then, let's say you deposited your 100 USDC tokens. You think you would only earn 50 bucks after a year, right? 15 bucks, sorry, after a year. But there is a special attribute on this protocol, which is points. Points essentially like a bonus on top of the APY that you're earning here. So for that, I wrote down a little calculation here. Let's assume you deposit $100, right, into the JLP market that we're literally hovering it here. So you deposit it in here. Let's assume the supply APY roughly remains at 15.35%, okay? Throughout the year, it obviously fluctuates, but on average, this is the supply APY that you're getting. That would mean that after 1 year, you end up with profit of $15.35, right? So in total of $115.35 in your Kamino account, which you could then, of course, just withdraw, send it back to your exchange, and then take it to your bank account. 15 bucks profit. Here is the thing. Since there is this point system integrated into the protocol, this is how it works. So $1 that you supply, each dollar that you supply, earns you 1 point per day, right? Now, there is this thing that the GLP market is actually point boosted by 3 times. The main market is point boosted by 2 times. We can check it out right here. If you just go back to the main page, you can see right here the little star. It says boost value 3x, and on the main market it says boost value 2x. Now, personally, I would opt for the 3x, right? You barely have an APY difference here, but you have to be aware that you're essentially depositing into the GLP market right here, not onto the main markets. Anyway, so assuming you deposit into the GLP USDC market, not only are you earning the APY, but a 3 times boosted point position, I guess, which essentially equal, with your $100 deposited, to 300 points per day. And there is this other website that goes by the name Whales Market, where people speculate on point value, right? How much a point costs on various products. And currently, a Kamino point goes for $0.00055, right? So let's just take that as an average. That would mean if you calculate your 300 points per day, multiply it with this price, right? So 300 times 0.0055, you would end up with 16.5 cents per day, which would add up to $60.22 after a whole year, which means that in reality you're not earning 15.35 cents after a year, but $60.22 on top. Now this is obviously assuming that the point price remains stable, and of course the point system continues for another year, right? That's probably not going to be the case because the points are essentially used to determine your airdrop share. So Kamino Finance is a tokenless protocol right now, but depending on how many points you acquire, those will linearly be converted into their native token Kamino, or whatever they decide to name it. So that's how the system itself works. That's also why people are bidding, right, or willing to even buy the points. There is actually some value behind it. Anyhow, it's safe to say the price for a point is probably not gonna remains stable, and when the token comes out, I don't know how viable this will be anymore, right? Because people can just trade the token. But yeah, so that's another thing to consider. One could say that this entire point system is like a hidden liquidity mining thing, right? You're essentially you could just take this number here, right? You could take the $60 on top that you're earning in a year and calculate it into an actual APY, right? That would increase it by, I mean, what is it? If you end up with, say, let's say the points remain stable at this price, um, and you do end up getting roughly $75, right, after a year. So that would, out of $100, that's 75%. So your real supply APY would be 75%, which is pretty crazy. If you guys kind of get where I'm going here, right? Like, it's pretty safe compared to holding volatile assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these altcoins, and I guess shitcoins as well. It's pretty safe compared to that, and you get a really great supply APY on your stablecoins with this points narrative meta, I guess. Anyhow, so that's essentially what I also added here, right? Points equal hidden liquidity farming, and that results in a higher real supply APY. Okay, so that's about the supplying side of Kamino Finance. Really lucrative, especially while the point systems are around. Um, it's up to you if you want to do this. If you don't want to do this, that's not a problem either. I think it's interesting to look into stuff like this. Anyway, as I said, I will link down the documents of Kamino Finance itself if you want to take a deep dive into it. You have to be aware there is always a smart contract risk, right? No matter how many audits a project undergoes, we always see it in crypto that every year one or two, maybe even more exploits, they just happen, right? No code is flawless, so you have to be aware of that risk. That means if, let's say, you deposit your $100 and the smart contracts undergo some exploit, it could mean that you will lose all your money. You just have to be aware of it. How big is the chance? Well, if you go all the way down, the site shows you a metric. There is currently a total amount of almost $2 billion supplied in this project, which kind of goes to say how much people really trust it, right? So I've personally, not financial advice, I think you're on the safer side with a project like this. It's pretty big, pretty competent developers as well, and they're delivering products, right? They're constantly updating the protocol. Now, a last thing I want to add before we end this video is a potential strategy that you can utilize from the traditional markets and these crypto markets with projects like Kamino Finance. Let's make the example of you taking a $10,000 loan from a bank, okay? Say it has a fixed interest rate of 10%, and you take that money, convert it into stablecoins, and send it over to your Solana wallet and deposit it into Kamino Finance into the JLP markets, as an example. That will give you the 15% supply APY. Now let's also assume that the APY stays constant throughout the entire year, so you're getting the 15%. After 1 year passes, you're gonna end up with plus 500, sorry, dollars, right? Which you can then all just withdraw in a bulk. And then you repay your loan that had a 10% interest rate, so that's only $1,000. Repay 11,000 and you get to keep the 500 that you earned here, which would leave you with a profit of $500. So you could kind of try and hunt for these arbitrage deals where you get a loan from someone, bank, whatever institution, that essentially has a much lower rate that you have to pay them back in, compared to the supply APY of Kamino Finance, for example. And now, while maybe 500 might not seem like a lot of money for essentially the risk that you're taking here with $10,000, don't forget that I didn't include the point calculation. If you remember here, if it were to be that the point price remains stable throughout the year and that the program continues throughout the entire year, it almost boosts your real API by 60%, right? So this could be in the thousands, right? Just a little example of what you could also do, right? If you're saying, oh, well, I don't really have, I'm already invested in the markets and I don't have stable coins or whatever, but I still want to reap the benefit of this, I guess, hyped up narrative. Could be a play, right? But again, not financial advice. There are a lot of other variables that you have to consider here, when you take loans and all that stuff, insurance and so on and so on. So just wanted to put it out there, give you guys some thoughts. Anyway, that's about it for this video. If you have any questions left, please let me know in the comments. I've been using Kamino for a couple months now. Personally, I can only speak of my own experience. Flawless system, works. Deposits, withdrawals are flawless. Still, always be aware that there is, on any project, it doesn't matter how big it is. We've seen it with the Luna crash last year or 2 years ago, I think. A top 10 coin just going all the way to zero, and Do Kwon, the CEO, the founder of the coin, I guess, the project, now facing charges, right? I'm not following the situation. I don't know if he's already in prison, but always be aware that even the biggest things can fall. So you have to. I really love to, I think you guys already get it. I really love to underline the risk in these things. Like, yes, it looks safe. I also use it personally, but $2 billion are in here. But anything can fall, Even Solana itself, honestly. I just want to make sure that you guys don't act in a reckless way, right? You shouldn't put your life savings into any investment, really, right? Not even a public company, Nvidia, AMD, whatever. Everything could fall. So you have to be wary of that. Be risk aware. But again, if you have some money laying around in the bank account, right, and you don't want to expose it to massive risk, this is a really, really good option. Personally, I see that way. And yeah, that's about it. I hope I could help some people clear some things up. I obviously didn't take a super deep dive into how does the Phantom Wallet, how do you set up the Phantom Wallet, how do you exactly withdraw from a centralized exchange. So I kind of expect from the viewers that you guys already know how to do that. In the case that you guys don't know what, like a Phantom Wallet doesn't even ring a bell for you, then let me know and I will try and create a video that goes even more into beginner friendly, where I really just show you step by step, click this button, do this, and then do this next, and so on and so on. But I think there are pretty good tutorials out there anyway. Okay, that's about it. Definitely check Kamino Finance out. Don't miss out on this point system, and have a fantastic day. Take care, guys.